Welcome back to the channel and thank you for being here. Just to say, this video is proudly sponsored by FS Academy and they've got a new bundle called Zero to Hero which offer 5 training packs in one package. That is IFR, VFR, Jetliner, Navigator and Commander. Priced at $69.99, this represents roughly around 40% discount from the full lineup, with a total of 60 training missions produced by a real-world airline captain. All the links for FS Academy will be in the description below. Anyway, it's now time to get into today's video. Welcome to the channel, folks, and yes, that's right, the title says it all really. I tried not to use VR in Microsoft Flight Simulator and various other sims as well for an entire week, and you might be surprised with what I'm going to say actually, so stick around, stay tuned, and let's get straight into this. Now, as you can see here, I'm just prepping my Milviz Cessna 310 for a 2D ultra settings flight. Look at that sunset, absolutely beautiful. We're going to head from Cranwell to London City, so enjoy those shots as I talk you through what I learnt about flying in 2D mode versus VR. Now, I think the obvious thing to highlight straight away was how incredible it felt to be able to crank every single slider to the right in Microsoft Flight Simulator. You're watching completely ultra settings and just look at the graphics on show here. Absolutely beautiful. In some ways, I actually envy YouTubers who produce content in 2D mode all the time because it's so much easier. But what I can say is, what you're looking at right now is exactly the kind of clarity that I see in the Vario Aero. It just doesn't translate that way, of course, when you watch it on YouTube. But anyway, as we fly off quite literally into the sunset, there I was in 2D mode, glass of port in hand, my dog on my lap. I was even chatting to Melissa. It was a very relaxing experience. I mean, you know, what else can I say about it? I just was enjoying flying without having to worry about being too hot in VR, putting anything on my head at all. I just think there is sometimes a case for an enjoyable 2D flying experience. And I know this is a predominantly VR channel. Saying such things is probably quite controversial, but I just got to tell the truth, folks. And another thing I thought of as well, many of my subscribers, including myself, have invested in a top-of-the-line computer, and yet we're still quite, frustrated with the lack of performance in VR. Well, if you are feeling that way, just every now and then take that 2D flight in ultra settings mode and you'll actually see what your computer can really do, because it literally can look incredible in 2D mode, without a doubt. So really, I've told you so many things now about why I actually enjoyed flying in 2D for nearly a whole week. But there's the thing, folks. I said nearly. I didn't actually make it a full week before donning a VR headset, and I'm going to tell you why. Many times during my flights in 2D, there was a few things that I was quite aware of with my own behaviour. Mainly, I was checking my phone. I was checking my YouTube channel, my Discord, Facebook, all those kind of things, which I never do in VR because I'm too, dare I say it, the word, immersed. That was the issue here for me. I felt a disconnection between what I was trying to emulate, and that is flying, and, the actual experience that I was looking at on my monitor. It kind of felt like I was flight simming. Let me explain, because I know that sounds confusing. But when I'm flying in 2D, like I am at the moment, looking at a monitor, it really does feel like I'm just embarking on a beautiful, fantastic hobby that is flight simulation. However, when I'm in VR, I really do get a sense and feel that I'm actually flying. And I do fly quite a bit in real life, and this is the closest I can get to that same experience while sat in my pyjamas, for instance. But you know what, folks? When it's all said and done, it really is a completely different experience flying in VR than a flat screen monitor. And I don't have to tell you that, you already know this, but there might be some people that are watching this video for the first time and never actually tried VR. Now don't get me wrong, I really did enjoy those 2D flights, and it's made me realise that sometimes I do need to just fly in 2D and enjoy that experience. However, for me it just felt like a technical demonstration of what a computer can do, rather than actually being inside that cockpit, surrounded by that full-scale view and feeling of being in a real aircraft. And then there's the perception and situational awareness of feeling like you're high off the ground, looking down. When you bank over and, you know, observe the beautiful scenery below you, you can sort of look out at your wing, and everything is at 1-to-1 scale as it would be in real life. There is no going back from that experience. But that's not all, folks, actually, because it's not just about pretending to be a pilot in your pajamas. VR gives me a sense of presence and, I guess, a mindfulness that I just do not get with any other activity, perhaps other than motorcycling. And I guess it's because, not that my brain's being tricked to think I'm flying, not at all, I know I'm not flying, but it's that sense of travel, that sense of being in a new virtual environment. And of course, when it comes to flight simulation, that environment is so realistic, so incredibly, dare I say it again, immersive, that you really just go somewhere else, somewhere, a nicer place in your mind. Because I don't know about you folks, but the world right now is a pretty messed up place, and VR gives me that sense of therapy, immersion, that presence that I think we all need right now. And as we come into London City, I'm going to give you a question. If you had to go back to using, say, the Oculus CV1 with that really low resolution, some of you might actually still be using that headset, or fly like this, which one would you pick? Now, of course, I think I would miss the clarity, particularly of the 2D representation, and of course high resolution headsets, but it's a no-brainer. I would always pick VR. Any VR headset I could get my hands on would be my primary use of flying, or flight simming shall I say, because that's exactly what it feels like, flying. So really, if you think about it, where VR is now and where it's going in the future, it's only going to get better, particularly as VR headsets get smaller, more comfortable, the resolution will get higher and higher, and of course the performance of the sims and the hardware gets to the point where we may even reach native frames per second. This era that we are in right now, the sort of building blocks of VR in its infancy, we'll look back at this one day and we'll probably laugh and think, we don't need half the setup videos we used to. Please do let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on this? Try and see if you can not use VR for a whole week. I absolutely failed. I only lasted, here it is, 4 days. That's it, folks, 4 days. I couldn't hack it anymore. For me, VR is and always will be the best way to experience flying, other than the real thing. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Please feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.